Hey good people, welcome to the channel. I'm Musically Malnourished and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. Today, we're getting into the 2006 album from My Chemical Romance called The Black Parade. I wore a black shirt for the Black Parade. This is my Curse of the Werewolf shirt from Universal's Epic Universe. So I've really wanted to listen to this album for a long time. It came out probably when I was kind of exiting listening to pretty much any mainstream music from 2006 to 2025. Yet I think this style is right up my alley for the music I loved listening to when I was younger. I'm sure at least Welcome to the Black Parade I've heard, but I don't know about anything else on this album. Jules over on Patreon sent me a short clip from My Chemical Romance from way back in the day of them kind of talking about this album and the idea of approaching what death might look like, or the feeling of death, or what you maybe would see when facing death. And so I think the concept of this album kind of follows that idea. It'll be interesting to discover. This does come to us from the Patreon community. So the Patreon community votes on the albums we listen to on Wednesdays, and then the higher tier over on Patreon, Chef's Kiss, also help vote on the albums we listen to on Mondays. So anyways, all that being said, really looking forward to this. We're going to get in, give each song a listen. I'll make a few comments along the way, but I'll keep notes on my handy dandy notebook here. That way, after each song, we can talk about the things that stand out and see what other information we can find. If you're interested in going to a specific song, you can find the timestamps in the description as always, or just press play and let's hang out together. But let's get started with track 1, titled The End.
Now come on, come all to this tragic affair. Wipe off that makeup, what's in is despair. So throw on the black dress, mix in with the lot. You might wake up and notice you're someone you're not. If you look in the mirror and don't like what you see, you can find out firsthand what it's like to be me. So gather round, piggies, and kiss this goodbye. I'd encourage your smiles, I expect you won't cry. Another contusion, my funeral jag. Here's my resignation, I'll serve it in drag. You've got front row seats to the penitent's bar. When I grow up, I want to be living. I say,
Let's let it roll, then we'll go back and look.
and if your heart stops beating, I'll be here wondering, did you get what you deserve? The ending of your life, and if you get to heaven, I'll be here waiting, baby. You get it what you deserve. The Wouldn't it be grand to take a pistol by the hand? And wouldn't it be great if we were dead in my honest observation during this operation? Found a complication in your heart so loud, 'cause now you've got maybe just 2 weeks to live.
Gotta love some halftime. Yeah. We're going to have a good time with this. As always, I'll try to be very sensitive to transitions. The platform that I use with Apple Music is the web platform. The app just doesn't work great for like what I try to have set up with the lyrics and everything. I've tried a few different looks and I'm just not happy with it. So I use the web platform, which unfortunately does not give you a whole lot of control over like the mixing and things like that between transitions. That's why even when there are songs with transitions, like smooth transitions into the next, there's still a little bit of a stop. So I know that means a lot to many of you. I'm sorry if it's not adequate. Okay, I'm doing my best. But I always try to be sensitive to transitions and let them play through at least to the beginning of the next track when I can see that they're there. All that being said, okay, man, off to a roaring start here. I really loved some of the lines in the first song, especially obviously they're like preparing you for like what you're coming into. It said wipe off your makeup, you know, because the idea that maybe you're going to cry or whatever is like you don't want all that because your mascara runs and things like that. And then secondly, with the second track, I really loved I don't know the best way to say it. Obviously it has to do with the time signature, I think, but how they're doing everything on kind of the offbeat. Boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop. I love that. And a lot of the guitar riffs are saying, I think that's so much fun. Great guitar solo. Wasn't really expecting that. So that was very cool. And then we kind of went into a breakdown part. So really enjoying this. But let's take a look here at track 1. It says in the opening track to the dramatic album, The Black Parade, Gerard Way is beginning to take a new approach to everyone's attitude towards him. He's broken badly and stopped caring about what anyone thinks. He refuses to live his life to the expectations of others and acts on his own terms. Here's what they said, which is a commentary featured on the deluxe edition of the album. Said the end was basically the song where I think when we butted that up against Dead, we realized we were making a really theatrical record that was also going to be very big. I do also love that they began the album with a song called The End. We wanted something, I think we wanted the end to feel a little bit like the beginning of Pink Floyd's The Wall. There's a song called In the Flesh, which we did. Oh, we haven't done The Wall yet. I really want to get to some more Pink Floyd. We've only done Dark Side of the Moon. With a question mark because it reprises later in the record. We wanted it to feel very much like that kind of beginning, that you were about to get taken on a journey, and I think that's why that song is so big and it tells a story right away. I think it just kind of pulls you into the story. Guitarist Ray Toro adds, that song definitely set the tone of the record, the entire record. We had written it in New York at SIR Studios, and as soon as all the drums and all the guitars kicked in really loud from that first acoustic guitar at the start, we knew we were onto something. That's a fun feeling, man. So produced by, obviously, My Chemical Romance and Rob Cavallo. Let's check out what other stuff Rob's worked on. So Rob, music producer, best known for his work with My Chemical Romance and Green Day. His father was the owner of a Los Angeles music venue and a manager. So he was introduced to the industry at a young age. So he's worked with the Goo Goo Dolls, obviously Green Day, My Chemical Romance, Paramore. Come on. Let's see. Lil Peep. Not familiar with Lil Peep. Not familiar with Gina Spektor either. But obviously, let's see, we got Kid Rock here. So a lot of work with Green Day and My Chemical Romance. Okay. Let's see what people have to say in the comments. MCR for life. Somebody says, this song is really one that shows off the storytelling and theatrical aspects of this album right at the beginning. Kind of like starting it off with a bang, never coming down from that level of passion throughout the album. All right, hopefully we get a lot of artist notes through this. It's always my favorite, when they specifically speak about it. So on Dead, Gerard Way takes on the roles of Mother War, the patient, and the doctor, setting up the rest of the album to be a journey through the patient's final 2 weeks of battling cancer. So Mother War, the patient, and the doctor. Is Mother War like the sickness, the thing that comes against him? It says the lyrics in Dead are kept strictly to the concept of the album, but it's possible the song could have multiple meanings. The song tells about the patient having cancer with just 2 weeks to live. Gerard Way plays the roles of himself, the doctor, and the patient. Let's see. Still love it, dude. I'm not suicidal or anything, but this is going to be in my funeral playlist. When I hear the end and Dead right back to back, I swear it's just continuing the song. I don't even realize it's two different songs. Well, unless you're listening to my video. Let's look at a few of the lyrics. If your heart stops beating, I'll be here wondering, did you get what you deserve? The ending of your life. If you get to heaven, I'll be here waiting, babe. Did you get what you deserve? The end. And if your life won't wait. It will be interesting trying to understand which perspectives are kind of being spoken about. Because obviously, if your heart stops beating, probably speaking to the person who's facing death. But I'll be here waiting. Like, who is it from that perspective? It says this section seems to come from the patient's mother. Their twisted relationship comes to fruition later in the album. Okay, I don't want to know too much. Okay, then there's a callback to Cemetery Drive, which appeared on the band's sophomore album, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. I'll try my best to stay away from too much that's spoiler, even though I have a loose understanding of what the album's about. You heard the news that you're dead. No one ever had much nice to say. I think they never liked you anyways. That worst fear, dude. Have you ever been to a funeral where it's like there's not a whole lot to be said because unfortunately people don't have great memories about you? Listen, let's strive to live a life where it's people don't feel like they have to lie at our funerals. I've said that for a long time. Try to live a life where people don't feel the need to lie at your funeral, just so that there could be some nice things to be said about you. Man, you want that, the end, the memory that you leave behind to be one, not that you want to cause a lot of agony to people, but that there is a celebration of the joy that they had with you and what you left behind, the impact that you made. Doesn't even have to be on a ton of different people, but especially to those closest to you. So it says the Black Parade tells the story of a character named the Patient, a lonely man who gets cancer and ultimately dies. However, the final song in the album, thrown some fans for a loop. I won't read any more of that. So that's where I was trying to figure out at like what point in the album, which I would assume, maybe it kind of goes like back and forth in the timeline. because dead would assume he's dead. So maybe the like 2-week period kind of comes back at different points within the album. We'll see. We're probably not going to get it all right, but we'll learn something along the way. Tongue-tied and oh so squeamish, you never fell in love. Did you get what you deserve? Have you heard the news? Okay, take me from the hospital bed. Wouldn't it be grand to take a pistol by the hand? See, this is what I was curious about. So the patient has asked me to be taken away as in he'd much rather die now. Okay, so he's not necessarily dead. He knows he's going to suffer emotionally, physically, all by himself. He wants to be over with it already. The character says, it ain't exactly what you planned in the first chorus. He had lived thinking he had people who cared about him and liked him, but as death comes close, it becomes clear to him that isn't the case. Before the diagnosis, he had grand plans for his life, but now he won't be able to pursue them or enjoy life anyways, knowing he's not liked by others. He fantasizes about dramatic spectacle. Okay. And if you ever feel this way, please don't. Neon Gravestones, great song by 21 Pilots. This speaks to this. It could also be interpreted as character possibly already having had a plan as he had been depressed before the diagnosis. And in my honest observation during this operation, found a complication in your heart so long, because now you've got maybe just 2 weeks to live, that the most the both of you can give. So the patient speaking with his doctor, the doctor promises to be frank, tells him he has a heart problem, which is likely cancer. Life is coming to an end. I didn't know if it was speaking to like, not necessarily cancer having to do with his heart, but maybe it was trying to speak of a deeper issue because the cancer has already kind of been presented, or the sickness diagnosis, and that the heart was meant to be, because obviously the things that we just talked about earlier in the song, you know, of kind of hope deferred, you know, and things that they thought they would do, and then people that they thought they knew or could trust. So I didn't know if it was speaking to the heart physically there, or a deeper issue on top of the physical sickness. The patient pleads with him, asking if there's any way to save him. The last line may be related to Heaven Help Us, song written for the Black Parade that was eventually scrapped. The song the speaker's pleading for God to lend him a hand could be connected because the patient doesn't want to lose his life, but he would need a miracle to stay alive. And then this random one thrown in was funny. So the line highlights the mix of emotions. This is the, if life ain't just a joke, then why are we laughing? The patient feels when he finds out he has just 2 weeks to live. As he approaches death, he insists that life is meaningless. However, this is likely just a way of comforting himself, because later in the album, it's proven he has a lot to lose. Okay, I'll stop reading there. All right, like I said, off to a roaring start. Let's see where it continues to go. This is track 3, titled This Is How I Disappear. What a cool, dark riff.
Kids I show by
drummer's crushing. Got me jazzed up, dude. It's been a while since I've heard an album like this. Oh, it's so fun. Obviously pretty dark, but the idea here, I'm trying to figure out if it's like, without you is how I disappear, as if it's like maybe he had a relationship or connection with somebody, and then with that severed, it's kind of like he feels like he has no reason to live. Is that where it's going? Or is it kind of the other way, that somebody feels like once they've lost him, now they disappear? It obviously doesn't seem like the healthiest of relationships too, because he also says, I think like, when I'm gone, I won't be here to hurt you anymore, I think was a line, something like that. And man, just the intensity, like great voice too. Let's get in and see what Genius says. It says the patient reaches out to a former lover, conceding that without her, no one will remember him. The whole idea is that someone is conducting a seance to reach a loved one. In an interview with Rolling Stone while working on the album, lead singer Gerard said that the song was inspired by the real-life seances that Harry Houdini's wife held after he passed away, as an attempt to contact her dead husband. I do remember, obviously, seance being in there up at the beginning. But at the time in 2005, Way also said the song was his personal favorite. Okay, I'm going to assume it's My Chemical Romance and Rob Cavallo probably on every song. Let's see. Somebody says, I think the section where he says, I'm just a ghost so I can't hurt you anymore, he actually means she doesn't love him anymore. So he's basically invisible to her, therefore he can't hurt her anymore. Not that he's already dead. Yeah, I don't want to get too tied up in trying to decipher all the different perspectives and things like that. I think there is a video somebody sent me, Jules, the same person who sent me the kind of like minute and a half intro to this album. She sent me another video of something that kind of breaks it all down. So I'll probably end up doing that on Patreon, just go a little bit deeper and kind of make sure I have the concept of the album pretty clear in my mind. But for this, I don't want to get too caught up in all the different perspectives. I'll kind of look at what I can, while also just being able to enjoy the album. So to unexplain the unforgivable, that drain all the blood and give the kids a show, by streetlight this dark night a seance down below. Such an ominous line. There's things that I have done you should never know. And without you is how I disappear and live my life alone forever now. Who walks among the famous living dead, drowns all the boys and girls inside your bed. I didn't understand this line. Possible reference to, I was wondering, I mean, that's the only imagery I could have, this idea of A Nightmare on Elm Street, because there is, I don't even know that I've ever watched that movie all the way through. But I do think, isn't there a scene where like he grabs somebody through the bed? A rather famous member of the living dead who memorably sucks a victim into his own bed in the first Nightmare on Elm Street film. And also literally drowns a victim in their waterbed. Oh gosh. Shout out to waterbeds. My friend's parents had a waterbed growing up. If you could talk to me, tell me if it's so, that all the good girls go to heaven, well, heaven knows. That without you is how I disappear. Let's see what the annotation says. This says, I think the patient has just got the word he will be dead in 2 weeks. Another line in Dead was, no one ever had much nice to say. I think they never liked you anyway. So it means no one loved or liked him. So when he dies, no one will remember him. And or there's a girl he's trying to reach out to and save his existence, which leads up to I don't love you, saying he doesn't need her anymore. And then this, let's look at the seance down below. Seance, well, I know what a seance is. Creepy. In his comic series, The Umbrella Academy, Gerard named a character who has the ability to contact the dead. Gerard did The Umbrella Academy? I think I've heard of the series. The Umbrella Academy. Yeah, I've heard of the drama series, but I guess it started as a comic or graphic novel. Let's see. Okay, cool. Who does the art for it? Does he do the art? Absurdist superhero comic book series created by writer Gerard Way and artist Gabrielle Ba, I think. It follows a dysfunctional family of adopted superhero siblings with bizarre powers attempting both to save the world and find their place within it. Well, this is a question I have. Are they worth checking out? Because I just, recently got into more manga. I've been into graphic novels for quite some time and then got into comics last year. So as far as graphic novels, things like, let's see. Got the Mouse series here, which is kind of a retelling of events from Nazi Germany, World War II, through the perspective of mice. This is a story of the Apache Wars, Inde. I got Rebels. Anyway, so I've been into graphic novels for a while. Let me stick these back over here. But got into comics last year. I read a lot of Batman, and then recently was getting into manga, which I'm currently pretty deep in Hunter x Hunter, which is amazing. I think I'm on volume 11. And I just started reading those last week on vacation. So yeah, let me know if the Umbrella Academy is worth reading. I would rather read it before watching it. Anyways, all that being said, let's press on to track 4, titled The Sharpest Lives. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you want access to hundreds of hours of additional content from dozens of artists, then check out my Patreon. That's where we host music videos, live performances, exclusive live streams, behind the scenes content, documentaries, and you get the ability to help vote on the albums we listen to here on the channel. Patreon is the best way to support this channel, and you can get access to the entire library, past, present, and future for just $5. Join the amazing community that we're building over there, and I try to make it worth your time and your money. All right, let's get back into it.
And it pours when you're out on your own. If I crash on the couch, can I sleep in my clothes? 'Cause I spent the night dancing, I'm drunk, I suppose. If it looks like I'm laughing, I'm really just asking to leave this alone. You're in time for the show, you're the one that I need, I'm the one that you loathe. You can watch me corrode like in the dark where the animals go. You can take off your skin in the cannibal glow. Juliet loves the beat and the lust it commands. Drop the dagger and lather the blood on your hands. Romeo, I've really been on a bender and it shows. So why don't you blow me? Or kiss me fast and goes. Give me a shot to remember. And you can take all the pain away from me. You kiss it, I will surrender. The sharpest lives are the deadliest to lead. And let it burn all the empires. So bright the sun is the shade to rise and be in love with all of these vampires. So you can leave like the same, abandon me. Give me a shot to remember. And you can take all the pain away from me. You kiss it, I will surrender. The sharpest lives are the deadliest to lead. And let it burn all the empires. So bright the sun is the shade to rise and be in love with all of these vampires. So you can leave like the same, abandon me.
Obviously, all the musicians are doing a really great job, but I have been honed in on the drummer. And one of the things that I love is his cymbal play. That's kind of when I pointed out in one of the other songs how he was crushing it. Is even within this song, obviously there's a lot on like the ride and I'd assume open hi-hats probably. But you can also hear throughout the song some of the tapping, and that's my favorite with cymbal work, man, when people incorporate some tapping with it, and you can just hear these like sharp little ting, ting, tings throughout the song, and I really, really enjoy that. This is interesting, because again, it's like the timeline's really muddy for me, and like I said, I'm not going to get too lost in that. The song itself seems to speak about maybe it's this individual and the life that they've led. They seem to have led a fairly unhealthy life, almost like a live bright, die hard type thing. And not live bright like, aha, but like this flash in the pan type of life. In the idea of it talking about, what do you say, the sun, something will abandon, we'll look at it, but it almost seems like this kind of dark, gritty type life in giving this other person this escape, this ability to get out. I don't know if the idea of the sun being bright or this person being bright to like rival the sun is connected to the vampire line. So we'll get in and see. But just my first impression feels like this person is just a flash in the pan type of life. So let's hop over and check it out. So it says, similar to Jet Set, The Sharpest Lives touches on living recklessly, not minding consequences. So yeah, that's a better way to say it maybe. The title plays on the similar sound of the words knives and lives. A sharp life is an image that describes an extreme life spent in a wild manner, such as the protagonist is doing. This says The Black Parade is a concept album, meaning theoretically, each song is important to the album. House of Wolves is about a part of the patient's life where he was self-destructive. Yeah, but that's not the song that we're looking at, so I don't know why it's referencing House of Wolves. Okay, so we won't move too far forward in that. Or I wonder if they have this whole album is alive in Mexico. If they do, that'll be a great one for Patreon. Okay, let's go down here. This type of song I want to shout at the top of my lungs. Why don't you blow me a kiss before she goes? Gerard, I don't think you should have paused there. Or maybe he totally intended to. Let's take a look. So, well, it rains and it pours when you're out on your own. If I crash on the couch, can I sleep in my clothes? So obviously that, again, is kind of this, not that just sleeping on somebody's couch in your clothes is always a bad thing, but it is this picture of maybe partying. Either you can't get home or you don't have a home and you want to crash on someone's couch and you're just going to fall asleep in your clothes. That does definitely put forward a type of living. Because I've spent the night dancing, I'm drunk. I suppose if it looks like I'm laughing, I'm really just asking to leave. This alone, you're in time for the show. You're the one that I need. I'm the one that you loathe. So like he wants this person, but they don't like him. You can watch me corrode like a beast in repose because I love all the poison. Away with the boys in the band. I've really been on a bender and it shows, so why don't you blow me a kiss before she goes? Along with claims and references of being drunk throughout the song, this shows that much of his loved ones have died, remarkably women. He can't exactly make sense of it. Huh? I didn't pick up on that. This person says, proposed suggestion. I believe when he says, so why don't you blow me a kiss? He could be talking to death itself. Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, because he says a kiss before she goes. It feels like he's speaking to a different person, not to the person that he was kind of referencing up here. This, you're the one that I need. He could be talking to death itself, saying, as the kiss is like the kiss of death, he wants death to take him before his lover leaves him due to his addiction to alcohol and poisoning himself. It leads into the chorus where he talks about giving him a shot to remember, taking all the pain away from him, since Gerard seems to play into the idea at some point that death can bring you a sense of bliss and peace through your pain of living. So give me a shot to remember. You can take all the pain away from me. Your kiss and I will surrender. The sharpest lives are the deadliest to lead. Light to burn all the empires. So bright the sun is ashamed to rise and be in love with all of these vampires. So you can leave like the sane abandoned me. So he's saying, like, if you're a sane person, you don't want to be along for this ride. That's kind of what I was picking up on. That's what I had written down here. I couldn't make out the word sane. I was like, what did I write? It looks like cone. The sane will abandon. Because obviously, if you're like kind of a healthy person or you're trying to make a healthy change in your life and the people you're connected to are all like stuck in one way of living. And when I was a teenager, that's a decision I had to make. It wasn't that I hated them or treated them poorly or acted like I was better than them. I flat out told my best friends, I was like, guys, I need a change. I'm not happy in what I'm doing. I was, caught up in drugs and I was just, and for me, like I gave my life to Christ and just my heart changed. And I knew that I had to kind of remove myself from the environment that I was in because me personally, I was incredibly impressionable and gave into peer pressure, and I just knew if I stayed in that environment, it wouldn't be healthy for me. And so almost in the other way, if it was like, if you're a sane person, you're not going to hang out here. This is such an interesting line. Vampires here is a metaphor for bad people, the kind that seek to destroy and corrupt people. All the vampires moving through the valley, they move west now, Ventura Boulevard. I might have those lyrics out of order, but that's the Free Falling song. Vampires usually die if they see the light of the sun. Alternatively, could be referring to people that party at night, go home in the morning when the sun rises. Sunlight might be disturbing when you're hungover, like how sunlight irritates vampires. My Chemical seems to have an affinity for bloodsuckers. They reference the creatures in their songs. Vampires will never hurt you. And vampire money. I like vampires. They creep me out a bit. Listen, even though this movie fell kind of flat, I think it is one of the most terrifying. Well, it didn't fall flat. It just wasn't amazing. But the setting itself, dude, you got me. The last voyage of the Demeter, dude, number one, what a cool title. Number two, you're talking about like an old type of ship, and there's a vampire creature stuck on board, and it's storming, and it's dark, and you're in the middle of the ocean. You got nowhere to go. Dude, come on. What an incredible setting. If you haven't seen that movie, I would give it a watch. Like I said, it's not winning any awards, but it was still pretty awesome. Okay, let's get into track 5, Welcome to the Black Parade. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I've heard this song. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever listened to it all the way through.
When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He said, son, when you grow up, would you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned? He said, will you defeat them, your demons, and all the non-believers, the plans that they have made? Because one day I'll leave you a phantom to lead you in the summer to join the Black Parade.
What a big sound.
The
dude. Yeah. I don't think I've ever listened all the way through that song. Definitely never listened to it with intentionality. The intro is obviously iconic. I love, and I don't know the best way to explain it. And I don't know that if it's a bridge or it's part of the chorus, maybe pre-chorus, that we'll carry on, we'll carry on. Like those kind of longing type. Oh my gosh. All American Rejects was one of my favorite bands when I was younger. And I don't know, that kind of sound. So great. I was with All American Rejects before Move Along came out, and then everybody loved Dirty Little Secret. It was my least favorite song on that album, so I was a true All American Rejects fan. Man, what a great song, dude. It's so big. There's so many great parts to it. Absolutely triumphant. Now, as far as the content, that's a little more difficult because it feels like it swings from hopeful and encouraging to not. And I don't know if it's telling different perspectives. When they were introing the album, they had talked about the idea of death kind of presenting itself in a way, that was comforting to you. And so that the idea was this memory of being with his father, the protagonist within here, at a parade, and like that was a happy place for him. And so he's there, but it's this black parade now. And so I don't know, the idea of maybe those that are left behind after his passing, like they'll carry on, they'll keep moving forward even though he's gone. So yeah, those are kind of my first thoughts around what it's sort of centering on, but I can't fully like put it together. So this song, entitled The Black Parade, the song as well as the rest of the album follows the patient, a man who's dying through death and beyond. Gerard said in an interview, "I like to think that when you die, death comes for you however you want." This is the video I was talking about. "I feel that it's your strongest memory, either from childhood or adulthood. For this particular character called the patient, his strongest memory is of being a child, his father taking him to this parade. So when death comes to him, it comes in the form of a black parade." Let's see. Gerard has expressed a belief that when someone dies, okay, that's kind of what we just looked at. He stated it was his favorite song on the album. He said it personifies the whole record. It's basically the one song that sounds up, the song for the record, probably sums up something for the record, and all the risks we took jammed into one mini epic. Still retains everything that made us special. Ray Toro described the song as the band's Bohemian Rhapsody. You know what? I was going to say that. I didn't know. I'm like, because it feels like it, I mean, obviously Bohemian Rhapsody is what Bohemian Rhapsody is, but this is its own kind of just epic tale, just so big, with, all these little variations and twists and turns and things. So I did have that feeling. Said it's probably the most epic song on the record. I love how it came together. It's a song that we had been writing since the start of the band, but it started out in a very different form. Didn't make our first indie record because we just didn't have the time to finish it. We brought it back for revenge, and it was another situation where it just wasn't feeling right, so it didn't make that record. Gerard felt that the lyrics weren't saying anything to him, and neither was the chorus, so we changed a few things. What's really cool when you write music, sometimes all you have to do is change a chord progression. That completely changes the face of the song. So he basically just changed one note in the chorus, and it let Gerard go somewhere else that he wouldn't have gone. That's where the hook of the song came from. Oh, that must have been so exciting, dude, when they felt that shift while they were working on it. Just like, oh, that's it. Song gives me life when I have none left. When I said I always thought that the father in the song died. Black Parade was talking about the ceremony at funerals where the mourners walk with the coffin to the grave or something. I did have a thought in there, that maybe there was something to do with the father in here. Let's go up and just look real quick. So when I was a young boy, my father took me to the city to see a marching band. He said, "Son, when you grow up, would you be the savior, the broken, the beaten, and the damned?" So it almost seems like a lot of hopes put in him. which you would only hope for your children. Like you'd grow up and do something great. And by great, I don't mean it has to be great in scale, but that you'd be a person that's helping, that's being a light to the world, that's lifting others, being a positive impact. I think to put on them to be the savior is a little bit heavy. It'd be more so just do what you can to help others. You don't want a savior complex. His father asked him to overcome his difficulties in life, to help the people around him that were in difficult situations, to be an awesome person who would stand up for the weak. The way the story is told gives it strong overtones of Christian symbolism. The speaker's father corresponds to God the Father. The son to Jesus, tempted by Satan, his own human frailty, and a phantom to lead you to the Holy Spirit. That's an interesting view. God is showing the patient the afterlife, promises him a future in the parade if he uses his music to reach the beaten and the damned. Because one day I'll leave you a phantom to lead you in the summer to join the black parade. Sometimes I get the feeling she's watching over me, and other times I feel like I should go. Through it all, the rise and the fall, the bodies in the streets, and when you're gone, we want you all to know. She might be the personification of death. Death constantly has an eye on him because he will have to die soon. Alternatively, this could be referencing the biblical character Mary, or the Black Parade character Mother War shown below, who was on screen at this time during the music video. Yeah, I would probably go with that. Could also be a reference to Gerard and Mikey Way's grandmother, known to fans as Helena. Seems to be the only reference to her on the album, though it's possible there are some hidden ones. And other times I feel like I should go through it all, the rise and the fall, bodies in the streets, when you're gone, we want you all to know. He feels like he's insignificant. Could be referring to the band's previous album, which they had many ups and downs. Rise could be referring to the band's great rise in fame. The last line finishes off the message, prefacing the next verse in which you're reminded there's more to life than death. In an interview, Way was asked what he hoped the Black Parade would inspire. He answered he wanted acceptance for everyone. I don't want people to be afraid, he said, of living, which I think is everybody's biggest fear. I want people to express themselves how they want. So if it's happening there, it's happening everywhere. I'm very much into acceptance. So this is where I'm curious, whose wheel, when we're talking about wheel carry on? This could have a double meaning. Could be saying when the patient dies, the world will carry on without him just the same. This could link to the song Dead and the lyric, I think they never liked you anyway. Alternatively, it could also mean the patient will carry on his beliefs and independence even after death. It relates back to the first line of the bridge, do or die, you'll never make me. A world that sends you reeling from decimated dreams, your misery and hate will kill us all. So paint it black and take it back, and let's shout it out loud and clear. Defiant to the end, we hear the call. This line may refer to the patient's family who are trying and failing to improve the patient's mood as he begins to slip from the mortal realm, seeming to be complaining about the fact that he won't be remembered and the world will carry on just fine without him there. All right, we'll take a look at this as the last one. Okay, it's just repeated. And though you're broken and defeated, your weary widow marches. This is in reference to the patient's lover, who we meet later. This weary widow is the woman he's left behind. This is similar to the concept of the band's previous album, where the lovers must continue on their own before their final reunition? Is that a word? I would have said before finally being reunited. I've never seen the word reunition. I mean, I understand its meaning. The act or process of reuniting. Reunition. All right. Always enjoy expanding my vocabulary because I played Scrabble on vacation and I lost. All right. But that's because I played the right way. Everybody else was making up words on their little thing and then going to check the dictionary if they were right. Like, oh, I got some random letters here. I think that might be something. Let me go check. Oh, yeah, it's a word from the Dark Ages that was a colloquial saying in a local village versus being like, I'm pretty certain that's a word, and then play it and be like, okay, you guys can challenge me if you want, but I know it's a word. Yep, whatever. I wasn't going to start any fights. All right. Let's move to track 6, titled I Don't Love You. I do love you, though. Love the vibe of this one.
Get back, I'll be off to find another way. When after all this time is you still love, you're still a god for nothing I don't know. So take your gloves and get out, ready to get out while you can.
Yeah, I think it's very clear at this point. It's not necessarily just this chronological order of events. This obviously seems to be about relationship. There was for a moment, I was wondering if it had anything to do with maybe a nurse, because there is one line in here. He says, Get your gloves. It was early on in the song. He said, you're still good for nothing. I don't know. So take your gloves and get out. Now, that could also mean the idea that like they've been fighting, you know, and like that's kind of all their relationship has been. It's just this constant bout with one another. That kind of just hit me when I was thinking about it. Pun intended. That it could be this idea of like, take your boxing gloves and go. And he's ultimately saying, too, like, you probably don't even care enough about me to turn around and at least tell me I don't love you anymore. Instead, probably just going to walk right out. So let's get in and see what Genius has to say. That's a heart-wrenching. Oh, and it looks like I do like checking out the art on a lot of the tracks, especially ones that have unique art for tracks. Because, you know, it can give you some insight. Obviously, you've got a male in black here, a woman in white. It looks like maybe a veil that's down below. So this says a heart-wrenching ballad, one of the band's most literal attempts at capturing heartbreak. I Don't Love You is thought to follow the album's main figure, the patient, as they either reflect on an old relationship or end one as they face their death. While the song was released as a third single, it was never released as such in the US, where instead Teenagers was released instead. Excuse me. Upon the album's release, the song gained praise from Pitchfork for being a truly hair-raising power ballad. Music video for the song marked the 6th time MCR worked with the director Mark Webb for a music video, who also directed all the videos for 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, as well as the ones for Blood and Teenagers from the Black Parade. Please put the video on. It's one of my favorite songs. Inner emo senses are tingling. Somebody said, I remember when it was playing on TV every day when I was in high school. It got me hooked on My Chemical Romance. Then they came here in my country, but I was broke since I'm still in high school. Sucks that now I can afford to buy a concert ticket. They have already disbanded. I love it. Loved it back then. I still love it now. Yeah, that's a bummer, man. Let me check this out, what it might say about the gloves. Right here. It says most time regular gloves are something people wear to keep warm in cold outside environments. She's going to need them when she leaves, but in the next chorus of the song, she gets knocked down and out. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Baby, when they knock you down and out, right here, it's where you ought to stay. And given the opportunity to get up or stay down, just like a boxer would, boxers also wear gloves. Maybe these gloves allude to a foreshadowing. Yeah, I mean, either way, I think is really impactful. The idea of like, you're going out into the cold, but literally and figuratively, or like your heart is cold, so take your gloves with you, is a really like interesting image. But also, I love the idea of like, all we've ever done in this house is fight one another. Even though that's obviously a terrible thing. I hate that, you know, that a house would only be full of contention. Okay, track 7 is titled House of Wolves.
Because I got enough to spare, and I'll be granting your permission, cause you haven't got a prayer. Well, I said, hey, hallelujah.
What do you call that style of drumming? It's like mamba?
I let the spirit come on through ya. We got innocence for days. Well, I think I'm all burning hell. Everybody burn a house right down and say what I wanna say. Tell me I'm an angel. Take this to my grave. Tell me I'm a bad man. Kick me like a stray. Tell me I'm an angel. Take this to my grave. Oh, no.
That's interesting.
You play ring around the ambulance like you never gave a care. So get the choir boys around you where it's a blind man, I swear. And I said, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. I wanna hear you sing the praise. I said, ashes to ashes, we all fall
Rashes.
down. And I stands for days. Well, I think I'm on a burning hell. Everybody burn a house out there and say what I wanna say. Tell me I'm an angel. Take this to my grave. Tell me I'm a bad man. Gag me like a stray. Tell me I'm an angel. Take this to my grave. You better run like the devil, 'cause they're never gonna leave you alone.
Oh, that's great.
You better hide up in the alley, 'cause they're never gonna find you a home. And as the blood runs down the walls, you see me creeping up these halls. I made a bad motherfucker, tell your sister I'm another. Go, go, go. And I say what I wanna say. Tell me I'm an angel. Take this to my grave. Tell me I'm a bad man. Gag me like a stray. Tell me I'm an angel. Take this to my grave. Tell me I'm a bad man, bad, bad man. Tell me I'm a bad, 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 bad man. Tell me I'm a bad, 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 bad man. Tell me I'm a bad, 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 bad man. Sing it out. Sing it out. Yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am.
Wow. Some great guitar work in there. Yeah, I don't know what that's called, but that like boom, ba-doom, doom, ka-doom, ba-boom, ba-doom, doom, ba-doom, doom, ba-boom, ba-boom, doom, boom, that kind of thing. Oh, help me out if you know kind of that style of drumming. Now, it does just sound like some of these songs are kind of continuing to bolster why people weren't saying great things about this person. If this is about the protagonist, and maybe even after their significant other has left, and just kind of the life that they lived, the person that they were. I don't know. This says, okay, so House of Wolves is a fiery and fast-paced track, setting the scene for the patient's arrival in hell. Throughout the song, the patient contemplates the dueling concepts of innocence and wickedness, weighing the worth of what he's done in his life and how he's sinned. S-I-N-I-S-I-N. The song was described by the band on the feature, My Chemical Romance Welcomes You to the Black Parade, from the deluxe version of the album, as being the patient's glimpse into hell, which was imagined as a fiery jazz club filled with demons, wolves, and sinners. So yeah, maybe it's just a type of jazz drumming. But I feel like there's got to be a more specific type of jazz drumming for that just style. So the phrase by itself has no meaning, but by looking closer at the song itself, we can take some guesses. House of Wolves, is part of the concept album, which follows the patient through his journey in death and after. The song can be interpreted as when the patient goes to hell. The title House of Wolves can simply be referring to hell. Wolves are generally seen as unapproachable things, something you'd want to stay away from. House could fit a ton of them, and that many in one space would be very unfavorable. Hell is pretty similar, as in it's a place you wouldn't want to be, filled with things you wouldn't want to meet. Song severely underrated, in my opinion. Love this song like any other Chemical Romance song. Riffs on the song are incredible. Third bridge is glorious. Yeah, I agree there. I loved the like kind of cutting out, and it just had a very like kind of rock feel to me. Plus, hearing the patient go practically insane before the crash that is cancer. I'm assuming somewhere in the album, I don't feel like we've encountered it yet where it specifically mentions things around cancer. And I feel like that was drawn from somewhere in the album. It mentions chemo. I don't know if we've seen that already, but it hasn't stood out to me. Okay. Let's step into track number 8. Oh, well, maybe that's the answer we were looking for. Track 8, titled, can you guess it? Cancer. wonder if we'll get a real like soft song.
Turn away if you could get me a drink of water, 'cause my lips are chapped and faded. Call my Aunt Marie. Help her gather all my things and bury me in all my favorite colors, my sisters and my brothers. Still, I will not kiss you, 'cause the hardest part of this is leaving you. Now turn away, 'cause I'm awful just to see, 'cause all my hair's abandoned on my body, all my agony. Know that I will never marry. Baby, I'm just soggy from the chemo, but counting down the days to go. It just ain't living, and I just hope you know that if you say goodbye today, I'd ask you to be true, 'cause the hardest part of this is leaving you. 'Cause the hardest part of this is leaving you.
Man, I'm sure that's a challenging song for anybody that has, lost someone close to them due to cancer. I haven't lost any direct family to cancer. I was a pastor for 20 years, so obviously I was around a lot of heartbreak as people were walking through things. And I did have a family very close to me, an older gentleman that we were with for a couple of years as he was kind of on and off with this tumor and chemo and cancer, and that we were there with him all the way to the very end. But I can imagine, if you've definitely had family really close to you and just kind of watched them deteriorate, that can be a very difficult song. So it says the Black Parade takes listeners on a journey through the death of a man. Sorry, I think this is the previous. No, I went to it. Death of a man dubbed The Patient. This track reveals the driving force behind the protagonist's death, cancer. Expresses his agony as he asks to be told the truth. In an interview, Gerard said that while the song is literally about cancer in one sense, it's being used as a metaphor at the same time. Little known fact about the song is that lead guitarist Ray Toro played bass on the studio track instead of Mikey Way. In an interview with NME, Gerard spoke about the tragic, bleak tone of the song. He said he wanted to write the darkest song ever. It's not a poetic track, he says. It's very direct, very brutal, but that's the way disease is. Obviously, cancer is being used as a metaphor. But I also wanted the song to be directly about the disease because it's something that the patient has gone through. It's a very powerful thing. For me, it was almost like an attempt to write the darkest song ever, and I think we achieved that. In an interview, Frank Lero said that Cancer was his favorite song on the record. Cancer is one of the most stripped down songs. I think it's a song where we really listen to each other, listen to what the song wanted to be and what it needed to be. It's really just vocally and piano driven, which is something that we've never done before, never gotten a chance to try. Other than vocals and piano, everything just really supports that. It's just a very intense song, very sad story. It's hard not to listen to that song. It's hard not to listen to that song. Some would say it's hard to listen to that song. Is there an acoustic version? Oh, wow. I bet that's beautiful. Such a sad song, especially because my dad, great-grandmother, my boyfriend had cancer. Wow. Sorry to hear that. Such a beautiful song. Only heard it very recently because it was covered by 21 Pilots. I wish I heard this sooner. This might be, Jules did let me know there was a song from My Chemical Romance covered by 21 Pilots. So this must be the one. Wow, it's a really interesting choice of songs to cover. I'm curious with him saying that it's a metaphor. Maybe the entirety of the Black Parade obviously is a concept album of this person who's sick, kind of descending into death. Obviously, you could take that and just put it into life. If a person is walking through maybe the most difficult time within their life, it could be this feeling of death and the conflict of the people around him and the darkness that he walks through, feeling like he's ushered into hell. So I could see, some bigger themes going on here outside of just trying to tell this kind of story concept through here, but it having a bigger meaning. I was curious about this part where he says about asking her to be true, or asking the person to be true. If she says goodbye to him, so he says that if you say goodbye today, I'd ask you to be true. She says goodbye to him. He wants her to be sincere because he doesn't want to die without giving her closure and a proper goodbye. This can also be seen as the patient making a plea with his loved ones not to give a big dramatic goodbye every time they leave after the visiting hours. He asks that they only say goodbye when it really does mean goodbye. This way, it will be true that he really is dying. The farewell will be sincere. Oh man, that's really interesting. And thought-provoking as well, man. All right, let's step into track 9, titled Mama. Mama, ooh.
Mama, we all go to hell. Mama, we all go to hell. I'm writing this letter and wishing you well. Mama, we all go to hell. Oh, well now, Mama, we're all gonna die. Mama, we're all gonna die. Stop asking me questions, I'd hate to see you cry. Mama, we're all gonna die. Hey, when we go, don't blame us, yeah. We let the fire just feed us, yeah. You made us so famous. We'll never let you go. When you go to return to me, my love. Mama, we're all full of lies. Mama, we're meant for the flies.
What a crazy, dark carnival song.
Building a coffin your size. Mama, we're all full of lies. Well, mother was the one did to my legs and to my tongue. You should have raised a baby girl. I should have been a better son. If you could count on the infection, they can amputate it once. You should have been, I could have been a better son. And when we go, don't blame us, yeah. We let the fire just feed us, yeah. You made us so famous. We'll never let you go. She said you ain't no son of mine. For what you done there, can't find a place for you and just your mind, your manners when you go. And when you go to return to me, my love, that's right. Mama, we are.
Oh, so cool.
Mama, we are girl. Which really quite pleasant, except for the smell. Mama, we are
Oh my gosh.
Sing you a song. But the shit that I've done with this fucking bag, you would cry out to rise along. We'll turn after all. Through fortune and flame we fall. And if you can stay, then I'll show you the way to return from the ashes you fall. We all carry on. Return from the ashes you
Yo, that song is crazy and dark and twisted in all the best ways. This is actually, I think, one of my favorites on the album. It's just so different. Really captures that kind of dark carnival feel. I even said that early in the song, and then it got further and further into that. So I really am curious what's going on here. And there were so many different parts to it and change ups and breakdowns, and I'm curious if it is kind of the host of people in hell recounting some experiences, like speaking back to their mothers, just because it seemed to mention situations that don't fully apply to our protagonist within this story. So let's see if we can find out any further information. Says it's a narrative told from the perspective of a soldier at war. Okay, so I picked up on that, but I didn't think it was going from a single person. He knows his death is coming soon, so he attempts to mend his broken relationship with his mother while he still can. The song is featured on the band Smash, The Black Parade, loosely based on the character Mother War. The song's bridge contains a brief feature from actress Liza Minnelli. Frontman Gerard Way opened up to Village Voice to explain how the collaboration came about. There was a line that was the only spot on the record I wanted a guest vocal. I wanted a voice to finally talk back to me. And I wanted somebody kind of motherly, but who was also a survivor, had been through a lot, but was rooted in theater. So Liza was in. She was the first person that came to mind, and then producer Rob Cavallo had made a phone call to her assistant. That was it. She did it for free, and she was happy to do it. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is a repeat here. He later told the New York Times in 2019, I love Liza Minnelli. Black Parade was very theatrical. We had this song Mama, and I said, it'd be really great in this one part to get Liza. Rob, the producer, made a couple calls. She said she would love to do it, recorded that remotely. We were in Los Angeles at Capitol. She was in New York with a different engineer. It was really cool. First time I got to speak to her was through the mixing board. That's awesome. This name sounds familiar to me. Let's take a look. Okay, I recognize the face. Award-winning American actress, singer, and dancer, known for her powerful alto voice, commanding stage presence. Okay, Arrested Development. I watched some of Arrested Development, but it's been a long time. Was she the mother? Or like a supporting character? I didn't watch any of these other things. Let's see what all she got her hands in. A lot of stuff, man, but nothing that I have seen. I don't think I've seen a single one of these. Oh, movie malnourished, right? Not quite as much as with songs. Okay. So I wonder what the calls for the shift to a character from War. So this says, I agree with El Mohi. The song's breakdown seems to have taken the poetry too literal. The lyrics of MCR doesn't often have literal meanings, or they mock something that's not accepted in society. In reading the lyric myself, I did think the song is leaning more toward homophobia rather than the narrator literally being in war on the verge of losing his life. Interesting. Well, mother, what the war did to my legs, to my tongue, you should have raised a baby girl. I should have been a better son. If you could coddle the infection, they can amputate it once. You should have been, I could have been a better son. She said, you ain't no son of mine. For what you've done, they're going to find a place for you. And you mind your manners when you go. And when you go, don't return to me, my love. Ultimately, I find these lines most convincing about a son coming out to his homophobic mother, being rejected or disowned by her, leading him to a depressed state. If one does look even closer, the song could be about war, but not a literal war. More like a war between the narrator and his mother, a war with demons inside of himself. The narrator in the end finally accepted his sexuality, however, will still go to hell because of his mother's preaching of Christianity. It's an interesting look. There's nothing wrong with the interpretation of this. I'm just pointing something out. For those of you who want to interpret this as a song about a guy who is gay, first you should know The Black Parade is a concept album. The offered interpretation of the above helps to give that background information to those who may not already be aware. However, I do kind of understand how you can interpret it that way. Just know that at times, we as people tend to interpret things differently without researching their true meaning. So does anybody have an alternate interpretation? Let's see. So this person's saying that they don't feel like it would really fit the story. But it says, keep in mind, Teenagers, same album, is not part of the story either. Yes, the album is high concept, but that doesn't mean that every song is going to be about the story. That would be too constraining for them as artists. So this person says, that being said, I'd like to say I feel this song was written more from a struggle being possibly... Okay, so they're just offering one about being trans. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, I guess that is kind of the theme, right? Is that I've tried to kind of approach through this whole thing is not having to pull every single thing with the narrative. It's hard to know like what to pull, what to not, especially when you kind of introduce this idea. At least for me personally, it's easy to get my brain locked in. But also being able to just kind of take songs as they are and not even having to always be about the protagonist, even in some of the relational songs. But sometimes that is difficult when something's presented as a concept album. All right, let's check out track 10, titled Sleep. Ever since starting this channel, I have fallen back in love with physical media, vinyls and CDs in particular, which is why I'm really excited to be an affiliate with vinyl.com. You can browse an extensive library of beautiful vinyls, CDs, accessories, and more. And as a partner of this channel, vinyl.com is offering 10% off for anyone who uses my code malnourished at checkout. You can also check the description for a link or scan the QR code on the screen. Almost sounds like somebody's like rewinding and replaying. Oh, this is great. Ba-na-na.
Some say now suffer all the children and walk away a savior or a madman and polluted from gutter institutions. Don't you breathe on me, undeserving of your sympathy, 'cause there ain't no way that I'm sorry for what I did. Went through it all. How could you cry for me? 'Cause I don't feel bad about it. So shut your eyes, kiss me goodbye, and say, just say, the hardest part is letting go of your dreams. A drink for the horror that I'm in, for the good guys and the bad guys, for the monsters that I been. 3 cheers for tyranny, unapologetic apathy, 'cause there ain't no way that I'm coming back again. And through it all, how could you cry for me? 'Cause I don't feel bad about it. So shut your eyes, kiss me goodbye, and say, just say, the hardest parts, the awful things that I've seen. Just say, just say, just
Wow. This is one of those songs that I'm having a hard time trying to separate. Like, is this part of the narrative? Is this not? A really great song. His vocals are crazy, dude. It seems like he can pretty much do anything that he wants vocally. Because you kind of start off with this recording of somebody talking about night terrors and trying to explain it's not just like these little tremors, like it feels intense and real. And even later when it's repeated, he says, you know, sometimes I see people closest to me dying or something like that. And then the lyrics about like letting him go, it seems, and saying goodbye and sleep, but then you have the end, it says wake up. So I don't know if it could be another person kind of calling them to wake up, like if they've slept, if they've passed away, and maybe there's somebody screaming over them to wake up. Because the end, the wake ups are the most intense part. So that's my best guess. I do want you guys to know I'm not getting hung up on like what is and isn't. The concepts that like I'm enjoying the album for itself, and the music is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to doing a second listen through on it. They also have a really cool vinyl for this that let me try to get my hands on, but there's so many other things I want to. It's tough. Sleep, thematically oriented around the patient's self-reflectance and diminished care. The song follows the track known as Mama, which the patient reveals his beliefs on his hellish destiny. Whoa, that's a way different interpretation than the one before, which I know, like these are not sacred. That's kind of what I was feeling from Mama, but then you had stuff about the soldier. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward, like I said, to that other video of somebody kind of breaking down some of the themes and concepts. I'd be curious to see their take and opinion. The belief has likely led him into the state of apathy, as he believes actions no longer have consequences at his final destination. The song features recordings of lead vocalist, experiences with night terrors, which he believes were invoked by the haunted mansion they recorded Black Parade in. Well, geez, dude. They went dark, huh? It says when Wei is talking, he uses an effect that makes it sound like his voice is coming from a tape recorder, which is often used with psychiatrists. If a patient has a history of psychiatric troubles, just thought I'd add that. The whole album this song is from just makes me want to cry. Somebody says, my interpretation, the patient's just found out he's gotten cancer, someone who deeply cares about him, but who he has wronged is there trying to give him support and is crying. He's telling him not to cry because he doesn't deserve sympathy after what he did. He proceeds to say he isn't even sorry about what he did. I want to know, like, what he did. You know, because there's been several things. I'm like, what all was this person up to? He's trying to push that person away because he doesn't want them to have to deal with losing him. He doesn't want any other people to have to say goodbye to when his time draws near. Let's check this out. So this says, the patient's dark side is breaking through in a bipolar fashion. He's uncontrollably wishing ill on his loved ones. Gerard Way reportedly had a handful of night terrors while recording the album, as the band chose to record the album in a haunted mansion. Gerard thusly often found himself in a state where his mind was awake, but his body was not. This bridge shows the fact that his body is telling him to go back to sleep. His mind is desperately trying to wake him up. Oh, that's interesting. These seemingly relevant symptoms fall in line with a phenomenon known as sleep paralysis. Okay, that's really interesting. One part of you is saying sleep and the other saying wake up. And obviously kind of fits in line with the recordings within here. All right, as always, let me know any of your thoughts that you want to add. All right, track 11, titled Teenagers.
They're gonna clean up your looks with all the lies in the books to make a citizen out of you. Because they sleep with a gun and keep an eye on you, son, so they can watch all the things you do. Because the drugs never work, they gonna give you a smirk, cause they got methods of keeping you clean. They gonna rip up your heads, your aspirations to shreds, another cog in the murder machine. They said I'm teenagers scare the living shit out of me. They could care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes, I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe it'll lead you alone, but not me. The boys and never gonna fit in much, kid.
I feel like I've heard this chorus, unless it's interpolated from something else.
We'll make them pay for the things that they did. They said, "I'll teenagers scare the living shit out of me. They could care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes, I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me." Oh, yeah.
Little cowbell in there.
I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me. All together now. Teenagers scare the living shit out of me. They could care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes. I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me. Teenagers scare the living shit out of me. They can care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes, I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me.
Well, I would have loved that as a teenager. It's obviously the kind of like don't conform to the system. It also seems to have some touch about war in it as well. The idea that they just want somebody to bleed. And then him saying, tell them maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me. I think to me that speaks to like he's going to keep encouraging this kind of rebel spirit. They'll leave you alone. Or it could even just be like they'll reject you, I'll accept you type of vibe as well. Let's see. Like I said, it sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar to me. So it could be that I've heard this somewhere. The singer reminisces about his teenage years, attempts to convey the unfair prejudice against teenagers that he experienced. In this song, the singer talks about how adults are apprehensive of teenagers for no apparent reason. He remembers how, when he was a teenager, grown-ups would be scared of him for no reason. The idea for this song was born when he found that he himself was old enough to be nervous around teenagers. Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's not fully ungrounded. It's not fully fair either, but there is a bit of a wildness to teenagers. Not all teenagers, of course, but a mob of teenagers, generally, you're like, I'm going to go the other way. And I say this as somebody, the past several years, we've gone to Seaside, Florida, 30A area. That's where The Truman Show with Jim Carrey was filmed. Really beautiful area, crazy affluent, like all the houses, multi-million-dollar homes right there on the beach. And one of the things that we have not really liked, and so there's kind of like this downtown area, which again is like where all the kind of work-related stuff was filmed with The Truman Show. But there's this area, it's got an amphitheater and all these shops around it. There's good food around there, some markets, some shopping, dessert, stuff like that. And we love going down there at night. And where we've stayed, like you could just ride your bike over there in a couple of minutes. It's so fun, and we like going there with our kids. But most evenings after about 9 o'clock, the teenagers come out, man, and there's no adult supervision. And I remember one year, it almost felt like spring break at Panama City. Just like 100 teenagers moving down the sidewalk together with, nowadays it's the turtle box, right? The Bluetooth speaker, just blasting music. And in that case, I'm like, all right, it's time for us to go. Because eventually, like, some of them start arguing and there's just other stuff. So it's funny that it put that in there. I think that it, again, is unfair to like turn your nose up to teenagers, of course. Instead, I committed a lot of my life to helping teenagers. I was a youth pastor for like 10 years. because I was in such a terrible place as a teenager and a youth pastor, made all the difference in my life. Not looked up to me, saw something in me, believed in me, helped guide me and lead me and teach me leadership and, call me into greater things, give me this view of my life that could be something that I never imagined. And I, in turn, wanted to do that for at least one other teenager. And thankfully, over the course of my life, I've had the opportunity to do that for thousands of teenagers. So I have a deep passion in my heart for teenagers, especially high school guys, because that was the place I was in my life where I really needed guidance. So the song was written by Gerard when he was on a subway and had a panic attack because there were so many teenagers riding on it as well. That's interesting. When guitarist Frank Lero heard this song for the first time, he thought it was a joke. Okay, let's see. Why do some adults think like this? Probably because they remember what they were like when they were that age, young and selfish. They know that people, well, maybe a little reckless too. They know, that frontal lobe's got to develop. They know that people of that age tend to think for themselves rather than blindly listen to authority figures, which greatest strength and greatest weakness. They understand this mentality because they once thought that way. While familiar, it scares them because they've outgrown or at least suppressed it or refined it. Let's see. No, the song is not about a school shooting. Yeah, I guess it's just a song, unless there's like another beat or another kind of song melody that's similar. Let's see. I was also under the impression that what you got under your shirt will make them pay for the things they did was about weapons. Sounds like they're referencing hiding a weapon under one's shirt to sneak it into school, get payback on someone. I feel like this line is really sarcastic. Yeah, it could be the idea like they think you're hiding something under your shirt. Okay. Yeah. It's a really cool anthem. Let's check out track 12, titled Disenchanted. Acoustic guitar.
When I was there on the day they sold the cars for the Queen, and when the lights all went out, we watched our lives on the screen. I hate the ending myself, but it started with an alright scene. It was the roar of the crowd that gave me heartache to sing. It was a lie when they smiled and said you won't feel a thing. And as we ran from the cops, we laughed so hard it would sting. Yeah, yeah. If I'm so rough, how can you listen all night long? How will it matter after I'm gone? Because
Oh, that hit all the right buttons in me, in the wannabe emo kid inside of my heart. I don't know what it is, man. That kind of melody, that longing voice. Love it, dude. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably more going on in the song than I fully realize. The title Disenchanted, it does make me feel like maybe it is the feeling being disenchanted about life when facing death, because he does mention this lifelong wait for a hospital stay. Almost like, what does all this matter for? And even the idea of watching your heroes on TV sell cars, is this idea of these people that you thought were larger than life, but now you're just like, oh, they're just kind of a salesperson. They're a sellout type feeling. I wonder too if, because it feels like he's speaking to someone in this song, if he's like almost speaking to his innocence, because really, right, being disenchanted is kind of when the naive part of you, the innocent part of you meets reality. And we all grapple with that in life, of being disenchanted, but also not losing the wonder that is life. I think that's a challenge for us. And, you know, even speaking about emotional intelligence, that's one of those things, is like, how do you not let the disenchantment of things, of whether they're events happening to you or happening to others, how do you take all of that in and weigh it properly and assimilate that information into your life without letting it dominate you? Probably the best way that I could put it is because whether it's from the news or social media of whatever sort, or again, actions, events that are happening close to you, losing a job, you get sick, someone else gets sick, a plan that you had in mind doesn't come to fruition. How do you take all of that, right? Assimilate it into your life, deal with it all within your mind and within your heart, learn from it, but then keep moving forward, and also not living like this or like this. You know, still finding the joy that exists within things, I think, is one of the great challenges of life. This says now that the patient will die soon. He says he's not enchanted by his life experience, that life is kind of overrated. The patient also finds that within his attempt to make life meaningful, it doesn't really mean anything at all, and this disappoints him. Let's see, who's speaking when he says you're just a sad song with nothing to say? Although unclear, it's possible the line's satirical. It's mocking meaningless sob songs that are just made to sound sad, hinting at how this song could be classified as one of those. Probably the most underrated song on the album. Seriously love this song. Fun fact, Mikey Way wanted this on the album so badly that when the other band members were sleeping, he whispered "Disenchanted" in their ears over and over so they would think about it the next day. Wasn't quite sure where to put this information, but my source is this, the timestamp 4:30 or so. Seems like maybe an interview. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that one. I think it's a standout on the album for sure. Okay, track 13 is Famous Last Words. On this one, track 14 is a hidden track. This is not the 21 song deluxe version. Lord help us. That thing's an hour and 45 minutes or so if you remove the music videos. Crazy. But track 14 is a hidden track that I would have assumed in the physical media was probably at the end of track 13 after a break. So we'll probably let 13 and 14 play together, and then we'll kind of talk about them. But let's get in.
No, I know that I can't make you stay, but where's your heart? But where's your heart? But where's your... And I know there's nothing I can say to change that.
It's a cool guitar riff.
With words I thought I'd never speak, awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me, with words I thought I'd never speak, awake and unafraid. Nothing you can say can stop me going home.
I guess it's still going to give us the pause between I'm going to scrub through here. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to hop into the middle of the song, but I don't want to wait multiple minutes. Yeah, which we would have been doing. Oh. We'll let it play from here.
Well, they encourage your complete cooperation. Send you roses when they think you need to smile. I can't control myself because I don't know how. When they love me for it, honestly, I'll be here for a while. So give them blood, gallons of the stuff. Give them all that they can drink, and it will never be enough.
Wow.
So give them blood. Grab a glass because there's going to be a flood. A celebrated man amongst the gurneys. They can fix me proper with a bit of luck. The doctors and the nurses, they adore me so, but it's really quite alarming, 'cause I'm such an awful fool.
It almost seems like another commentary on war.
Blood, gallons of the stuff. I gave you all that you can drink, and it has never been enough. I gave you blood. I'm the kind of human wreckage that you love.
Honestly, I think that hidden track is one of the coolest parts on this album. Obviously, it's very simple, but I just love that, kind of going back into the carnival theme. And even that line, I'm the kind of human wreckage that you love, could speak to like they used and abused you, therefore you are human wreckage, or it could be the manipulation of somebody that's lost, confused, hurt, and they're like, ooh, we can make a lot of promises and we can use this person. I think either way, you know, you could kind of take something from it. Let's go here though to the previous song, Famous Last Words. Yeah, it's interesting. I really want to look at a few lines here about the stop me from going home, the bright lights. I feel like the song does kind of pull back the curtain a little bit to show maybe some of the bigger themes that are being talked about. Like I mentioned earlier, obviously the concept album, there's a story going on here, but I think that story is also speaking to a bigger story. I can't fully put my finger on it, but even like the talking of whether he's asleep or dead, to me, it kind of speaks to a metaphorical versus a literal death. So within the context of the character, the protagonist in the story, there is a literal death. But if you're taking it outside of just the album story into the bigger commentary they're speaking on, you have more of a kind of metaphorical talk around it. And maybe it even has, you know, connections to their lives and careers at this point and things they were experiencing. But let's see. Final proper track on the album lets the listener decide whether or not the patient dies. Famous Last Words, most powerful song, giving strength to listeners through its message of fearless perseverance. Frontman Gerard wrote this song for the bassist and his brother, Mikey Way. Mikey temporarily left the band during the recording of the Black Parade album due to severe anxiety, but agreed to resume working with them upon hearing this track. Gerard took to Twitter to share that it was his favorite song for the album. He originally said Sleep, but changed his stance. No, guys, Famous Last Words kind of kicks Sleep's ass. FLW for the win. The music video for this song, okay, we'll see those later. Gerard revealed the original name for the song was The Saddest Music in the World, but the band changed it to disassociate the song from the movie of the same name. So Ray described the track as one of his favorites. He said it leaves the listener with a sense of hope at the end of the record and at the end of the journey, which seems like something they were all kind of longing for, you know, obviously in a pretty dark album ultimately, and even their process of recording it seemed pretty dark. In May Death Never Stop You, bassist Mikey Way wrote, "The troubles I had during the Black Parade aren't a mystery to many of the fans of our band. A mixture of pressure, self-doubt, severe depression had left me a shell of a person, which in turn led me to remove myself from the situation. During one of our phone conversations, my brother said to me, 'Hey, I wrote a song for you. Think you're going to love it.' When I finally made my return to recording, hearing that song for the first time, the mix of emotion, lyrical sentiment, triumph brought me to tears. It illustrates that regardless of the obstacles standing in your way, not only can you overcome them, but rise from the situation stronger than you've been in your entire life." I'm curious about this, May Death Never Stop You. Is this a book? This says, May Death Never Stop You is a compilation of My Chemical Romance's greatest hits. Okay. Spanning their career from 2002 to 2013. It was released over a year after the band announced their breakup. Interesting. So I guess there's probably some additional commentary and things in that. Okay, let's see. Let me look at these two lines real quick. Going home. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. Line could refer to several things. Mikey's POV that nothing Gerard can say will make him stay in the band. Gerard's POV that nothing Mikey could say will stop him from being with his brother. And 3, the patient saying that nothing can stop him from going home, whether heaven, hell, or his physical home, as he succumbs to the disease. Interesting. Let's see. The other line. Okay. These bright lights have always blinded me. Like hospital lights, maybe? I don't know. Most likely talking about the light that you see when you die. It could also mean the hospital lights. He also means away from the story in his real life that fame had always blinded him from what was really going on. That's what I was saying is like, I think there's also some commentary on here into what they were experiencing as a band and, you know, being pushed further into the limelight. All right, let's take a quick look at this hidden track. It has a very old-fashioned, chipper style. It's meant to be ironic considering the horrid nature of the lyrics. The song's a bit of a dark comic relief after the album. Patients just relived horrific experiences at the door of the death, but in famous last words, makes the decision persevere through life rather than accept his death. Now he returns to life, wakes up in the hospital under extensive treatment, sings a sarcastic tune about how, even though he chose to live, life kind of sucks. Somebody says, what does this have to do with the patient? Somebody else said it really doesn't. During the composition, Way was having a bit of a problem with creativity. The song has been thought of a regurgitation of thoughts put into an old-fashioned song. The gap between Famous Last Words and Blood is a time when most casual listeners would take out the CD and move on to another album. However, it's a surprise treat for fans, those who keep playing the album, even though they might assume it's over. Yeah, because, I mean, at least on a Walkman or Discman, I don't think a lot of them necessarily had the time of the song. Like, here's how long it is, or here's how far within the song you are. I can't remember. I'm sure some models did, and even like some home stereo systems. But if you were just kind of listening to it, you know, and you didn't have anything showing you how much time is left, or you weren't paying attention to how long the song was, maybe on the CD case versus how long you've been listening to it, you very likely could have just started it over, or changed the CD. Somebody else said, I always thought this song was about war, blood referring to the nonstop violence going on in the world. And then when the main character of the song gets injured at war, he's taken to the hospital, taken care of, adored, even though he's such an awful. Guess I was wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. That's kind of what I was taking from it. There were a lot of themes that felt like they were about war within this album. So very well could be. So let's talk some closing thoughts here. Obviously, this album transports me back to the music I loved and listened to when I was a teenager. And so I love that. And there's definitely other artists that I really want to get into. I listened to a little bit of Korn. My friends were more into that. I maybe heard one song from Slipknot, but always wanted to explore them. I was more of a Limp Bizkit fan. So I know that's not connected to this type album, but I'm just thinking about things, songs or groups and things that were really popular when I was younger that my friends were listening to. And so those are ones I really want to get into. But man, yeah, such a great album. I mean, really dark. I'm looking forward to listening to it again, trying to pick up on different themes and maybe even breaking out of the idea of it, you know, constrained to the concept. But a lot of times just in second listen throughs, things like that, I pick up on a lot of things I didn't hear in the first, and obviously third, fourth listens, things like that. But there were some really great moments within this album. Love Gerard's voice throughout. I mean, the whole band's incredibly talented. You know, I wasn't expecting the guitar solos. I was loving the drum work. And it's all pretty straightforward, you know. There's not a whole lot of electronic influence and things like that. It's really just the voice, guitar, bass, drums, and they did a really great job. So glad to finally have listened to this one. It's been a long time coming, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. So thank you, Patreon community, for voting this one in. As always, if you want to check out what we have over on Patreon, we'll work to get music videos, live performances, and more up from this album. But we have hundreds of hours of additional content from dozens of artists over there, and you can help us vote on the albums we listen to next. And also at vinyl.com, if you like vinyls and CDs, be sure to visit that. Use my code malnourished or the link that's in the description to get 10% off of any order. But let me know your thoughts on this album. I always enjoy talking to you in the comments. Thanks for being with me for this one, and I hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.